Okay, we're gonna get started in about 5 minutes, everyone. So in about 5 minutes, we're gonna get started. I am Charles, and like I said, if you all have any questions before we get started, let me know. We're gonna be muting the lines during the actual presentation, and we're gonna have a little fun tonight.
Here.
Give me just another few moments, everyone. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for being here tonight. I see we got about 46 people in the house tonight, so I'm gonna kind of give you guys some ground rules, what we're gonna do tonight, how everything is gonna go. Give me 1 second. So everyone is gonna be currently muted. As we go through everything, I'm gonna walk through all the different options with you. I'm going to make sure that you know how to do Designer, how you know how to set up an event in TouchPix, and we're going to create the whole experience for you. But we're going to do it as a full walkthrough with no questions. Afterwards, we'll do a Q&A with any questions you may have. And I'm going to share my screen for you. Let's see. Okay, so as we go through, we're going to kind of go through everything for you. If you write down questions, make sure you write down what section you were for what your question is. So then when we refer back to it, we know what we're doing within that area. And we're gonna get started now. So first off, I'm gonna start off by saying, welcome everyone, all the new users of TouchPix. And let me do something really quickly. I wanna make sure everyone can hear me. Can someone unmute themselves and let me know if you can hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, awesome. Awesome, thank you. You can see me as well?
Yes.
Awesome. Okie dokie, thank you. Okay, so as we go through everything, I'm gonna kind of show you and just kind of get you where we're going. A lot of you are actually going to be new to TouchPix. One moment. A lot of you are going to be new to TouchPix, so you're going to have a lot of questions, kind of where you're going to, what you're doing, what's going to make your business better. Firstly, I want you to keep in mind that a lot of questions you may have are going to be hardware questions from your manufacturer. Please direct those to your manufacturer. If it's a question about, how you get a certain view, that can be somewhat software related, but just kind of make sure we kind of keep the software issues, software related questions in this group, and then make sure we keep anything hardware, to your manufacturer. We don't mind answering them, but we don't have all the answers for everything. Second off, how you're going to learn is you're going to learn through a lot of practice. You're going to learn through practice, through playing with things, doing buying different things to see what makes your business and your booth better. Not everyone here has had photo booths before. Some people, this is your first booth. So as you go around, sometimes when you get an answer, it doesn't help you understand the process behind it. Sometimes buying the wrong thing, trying to connect it and not being able to connect it is how you're going to learn and get those answers. And Amazon takes returns. So don't be scared to try new things. Don't be scared to create your own way. Don't be scared to not buy what someone else has bought and try something new and see how it works for your business. Everyone's items does not have to be the same, and you really want to differentiate yourself. As right now, we have 2,000 people in this group. There's many more 360 owners, so really do something that's going to make it special for yourself, because as you're trying to charge $400 and $500 an hour, you want to make sure in this industry you can tell why you're charging what you're charging, and not that just someone gave you the answers. So keep that in mind. To get started off, I'm going to jump really quickly. DJ, one, are you on? Are you on, DJ? Maybe not. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of jump into the marquee show. So there's going to be a show next week that Photomaster, oh my God, that TouchPix will be a part of, and it's going to be the Marquee DJ and Photo Booth Conference in Chicago, June 22nd through the 25th. We're going to be showing demos how to work it, software, and we're going to have a show special. So definitely make sure you kind of keep updated if you're in Chicago, or if you're really into this field and you want to learn more, you want to do more. This will be a great place for you to go to learn a lot. There will be a raffle for a 360 by Selfie Box 96. We're doing free scan picks for anyone who does a 1-year subscription with our show special at the Marquee Show in Chicago. So just remember, it's June 22nd to June 25th. If you're in the area, or if you're free, it's Tuesday, Wednesday, and it's like Monday through Thursday. So keep in mind, this is a really good way to learn about the industry, meet some people, and just get your name out there a little bit. So that's gonna be the first thing we're gonna start with today. So secondly, as we go through this, like I said, this is not everyone's first booth. So one thing I want everyone to kind of keep in mind is, if you've had a photo booth before, everything we send is pictures. When we do 360s, they're video, so there's no printing, a little bit easier for the process. But what we really want to do is make sure that we understand that videos take up more data. So videos are not always as easy to send. If you have an internet connection that's not strong, it's going to be a little bit harder for you to send data times, upload to your gallery, or text to go out. So one thing we want everyone to know, Speedtest is a website you can go to, speedtest.net. This will always test to see where your data speeds are. The data speed you're looking at is your upload speed. Your upload speed is how your device is going to upload it to the gallery, to your customers, things of that nature. So your download really doesn't make a difference, but your upload really does. You really want to be 5 and up, but anywhere between that 5 and 10, you can still have some issues. So really kind of make sure you use this tool. If we're all using Apple devices, so you can actually download Speedtest app by Okla, I believe, in your app store. And this way, when you get to your event, the first thing you want to do is check your speeds. You'll already know how long your text, your videos will take to come through based on your internet connection and your upload speed. So like when I click Mines, it'll probably show a high upload speed because I'm currently at home. But like I said, what we're looking at is an upload speed, not download speed. My download speed is going to be crazy, about 500. Generally, anywhere you go, your upload speed is probably going to be under 100, probably going to be under 20. So this is what causes slowness within the system for sending to your customers. But the best thing you can do is, just let your customers know before. Look, the reception's bad here. They'll probably agree with you. They probably don't have good reception themselves. and say, hey, your video, was sent to you by the end of the event, within the next hour or so, or when we leave, we'll make sure you get your video. Everything is queued, but just knowing how to look at your speeds and particularly your upload speed will make a big difference in what you do for your event and how you set expectations. So as we go from there, we're gonna go to our TouchPix website. 1 second. So as we go to our TouchPix website, I do want to focus on a few things. So the first thing is on the top right, there's an area that says shop. When you click shop, there's a few cool things in here that you could purchase to be used with your 360. The first thing I'll say is the white label subscription. So generally with TouchPix, you need to have any devices you're using with TouchPix on the same Apple ID, which means if you have an iPhone and your husband has an iPhone and you start the subscription on your iPhone, but you send him to an event and download the software, more than likely you have two different Apple IDs. So what happens is he won't be able to access your subscription using his phone, or if you have an iPad with a separate Apple ID. So they all need to be on the same Apple ID to be able to use the same subscription. The white label yearly, this gives you an option to be able to purchase a subscription for 1 year, but it then also allows any device with any Apple ID to be used. So if your son, your brother, one of your employees are going to be out doing a 360, you can then scan a code onto any of their devices and you can use it without a problem. So kind of keep that in mind. With TouchPix, you also get to be able to do unlimited number of events at any time. So if you have 5 360s and you have 5 iPhones, they can all be active at the same time, but they have to be on the same Apple ID. Just in case, unless you purchase this subscription, then you can do different Apple IDs. So keep that in mind. That's under shop. There's 2 trigger boxes, and these we can kind of explain a little bit later. But the purpose of these was some of the automatic booths. You can actually motorize booths. Like this one is for RevoSpin. And these are for Selfie Box, Atlanta Photo Booth, Lynch displays. You can actually make it so the software itself can control the starting and stopping of your booth. So it so you don't have to have a remote in one hand and the software in the other hand. It'll do both of them together. So when your booth starts to spin, it'll also start to record at the same time. Lastly, a lot of people like to add little glitz and glamour to their events, like the sparkles, light leaks, and confetti packages. These are $75. It gives you these different effects and different sizes for your different templates, but they're pre-made, so you can kind of add them to your event and add special effects to your event very easily. And this is a one-time purchase, and you can use these for all your events going into the future. So keep in mind, this is where a few items you can actually purchase through touchpix.com. So as we go into the actual touchpix.com and you're going to log in, so I hope everyone brought their laptops and you're currently on your laptop. If you do have your active subscription, please go ahead and log into your touchpix.com account. Once you log in, you're generally going to be in your My Account section, and it starts you on your dashboard. When you click events, if you don't see events, please go to My Account and go down to events. This is going to be your main section of your TouchPix. So this is where you're going to create your events. This is where you're going to check your galleries, where you're going to see if your overlays are properly added, and anything else within the actual event. So on your events page, as you see, I have tons of different events here. We'll look at this event right here. So we'll look at the first one. It's called New Version Test Sharing Station. So as you look at this, every event is named. So you'll name your events based on what that party is, what the date is. It kind of really keeps it so that you know where your event is happening. And if you have to go back to that event a year later and find pictures, you're going to clearly name those events so you know which event were what. Whenever you create an event, it will let you know what date that event was created. This makes a big difference because let's say you create an event today, but then you don't use your 360 for 3 months. Now you go back in and you test it in September and you're trying to play with that event to see how it works. Sometimes with software, you want to always make sure you have the most current up-to-date event. So typically you don't want to use old events. So if this event was created a long time ago, you want to make sure that what you're going to do is, you're going to start a new event whenever you get ready to start with your new software and start over with that. But this basically tells you when it was created. You have three different statuses. You have test, you have active, and you have finished. So whenever you create a brand new event, the status will always show test. It'll show test until you actually scan it into your Apple device, and then will show active. Once your event is finished and you fully close out of your event, then it will show finished. So these are your three statuses you'll see under status, and they'll let you know if you've ever scanned them in, if you've started it, or where you are with that event. Your next area is QR code. So whenever with TouchPix, the way you activate any event, close an event, or refresh an event is with your QR code. Once you create an event, which you'll see in a little while, it then gives you a QR code that you're able to scan inside of the software to actually open your event, to refresh it, or to close your event. So again, next to your event name, corresponding QR code, and that's how you get to your QR code for your event. The next section is gallery. This right here, you're able to click the gallery link, and this will be any videos that you've taken currently with that event. So any videos that you've taken with your current event will show in gallery. So if I were to go to an old event and I would hit gallery, it would show all videos that we've taken under that event. So then you can go through them, you can click them, you can test them, you can kind of see what's going on with everything, and you can make sure that all the videos are the ones you want to send your client. When you're ready to share your videos with your client, everyone look right here, right above the videos, it says public URL. This is the link you're going to click. When you click public URL, this is the page that you actually are going to share with your clients. It gives them an area where you can actually put your logo there. It has all the videos, and they're able to download their videos. They're able to email a link to their videos, but they're able to have access to every video through their own link. Inside the web bar right here is the URL. This link is the link that you can share with them to have access to all their videos. I do want to show you something that's really cool. So as we were playing with Chrome today, I found something out really cool. So if you're in Chrome on your computer, if you right click, there's an option now that says create QR code for this page. So one big thing we do is, like I said, we focus on how do we share our content to our customers. And a big part of it is we're going to text, we're going to email, but sometimes we need a little quicker way to share these images to our customers where it gets our line flowing a little bit faster and it doesn't involve us, going back and rechecking images. So again, this URL, this page is available for your customers after the event to show all their videos. But at the same time, as videos are being created, all your videos are uploading to this page. So what you can do is create a QR code based on that page web address. As you see, it create a QR code, and then you're able to scan it or download it. What you would do with this QR code is you would print it off on any printer you have. You can send it to FedEx, Kinko's, UPS store, have them print out on a full piece of paper. Leave that paper in a little stand, a picture frame on your on one of your tables around your booth. And whenever someone gets off, you can just literally say, you can scan this code. And once your picture loads to the gallery, you'll have full access to it. So each customer will be able to scan that code and see the gallery and download which pictures are theirs. What this does is it saves you time having to share, go back and resend photos, and it just gives everyone a quick access to those actual images at any time. So like right now, if I were to take my iPhone camera and I were just to scan an image, it pops up with a web address, and all the actual photos itself are going to load right there on my phone. So it's a very easy way to share by creating a QR code based on the page that we have all of our galleries on. And it's an easy way to share, have your customers have a quick access, or even an event person, whoever booked your event, they will have access throughout the night if they wanted to download these, upload them to social media, advertise them in any way. So it's a great way just to share those images. So kind of keeping in mind, taking your QR code from your URL and creating a QR code is a good way of doing it. And again, this is inside of your gallery, inside of your public URL under your gallery. A few more things. With some events, corporate events, you may want to keep data, take phone numbers, email addresses. The data from any event that you save will be under your data tab. Your overlays are going to be what you're going to create to have that look for your customer's experience. So if we click overlays, this will show for this event. We had a birthday party. This was the overlay. So when we created this overlay after we created the event, this is what the overlay is attached to this event. And this is how you check to make sure that you have the right overlay on your event. Before you go to your event, you will go under overlays, go to that event. So like if I did Mona's graduation, her event should show her overlay for her graduation. So we want to keep in mind, make sure after you create your overlays and you add them, make sure the right one is added to your overlay field. Sometimes when we go to add overlays, it doesn't complete all the way. So when we go on there, let me see, it may be blank like this page. So, well, this has the wrong one. So you can then take this and you would hit delete, and you could then add the right one on through Designer. So keep in mind, this is where you're going to go to inside of your event, under your events and under overlays, to make sure you have the right overlay. And lastly, under manage, you have three options. You have edit, duplicate, or you have delete. So with any event, you're able to go back and edit any changes you've made. You're able to duplicate the event to create a second event. Duplicate is really great. As after you started one event, and let's just say I have an event right here, and I know this event is my perfect settings. I love my settings on this event. So what I can do is I can actually go menu and I can go duplicate event. When I duplicate event, it'll ask me for a name of a new event. So I can say ATJ birthday, duplicate. And what it's now done is it's taken that last event I've had and it's duplicated that event to then be a new event. It has all my same settings and it just duplicates so that I can now scan a QR code and I can start my next event. So after you learn what you're doing within your settings, you get your settings the way you want them. It doesn't take forever to start a new event. You can really just duplicate and move forward. Or as some people are going to ask going forward, how do I do a sharing station? The first thing you want to remember is you're going to duplicate your event. So any event you choose, we're always going to use a separate event for a sharing station. This is going to prevent any upload issues, closing out issues. You're going to have one event you scan into for your recording device, and you're going to have one event you scan into for your sharing station. So if I were to duplicate this event right here, I can just add the word sharing station. And once that's added within the software, now you'll see that this event has been duplicated again. But when I go to my account and events, I have one event for the duplicate I just made, and then I have one event that's duplicate sharing station. And so I now have two separate QR codes. So the first event, I will scan into my device that's recording. The second event, I will scan into my device that's a sharing station if I have a sharing station. And to answer the next question, what is a sharing station? A sharing station is going to be a separate device. So if you're using an iPhone on your arm to record your videos, a sharing station is going to be a device like an iPad that you're going to have to the side on a stand, on a table that customers can go to, and they can then text and email the videos to themselves. They can scroll through the gallery, click a video, they can watch it, and then they can also share it to themselves without the help of someone being there and without you having to do it through the recording device. So it'll save you a ton of time, make your day easier, and that's how you get started with that. So as we start here, I'm going to go through TouchPix. So this is your event page when you log in. We're going to do two things. It's going to be two things as we go through TouchPix. One's going to be your create event and one's going to be designer. So under create event, you're going to have two options. One's going to be a custom event, which we'll go really deep into. The second is going to be the preset. As you create a preset, this is going to be easy for, like, let's say you have an event tomorrow. Let's say you have an event this weekend and you don't know what you're doing with your settings yet. We've created a way where you can just come in, you can say what you're doing with what event, and it will create an event for you with pre-made settings. We've created these to be as close to possible for your events that you would actually make yourself, to make this an easy process. There's two different ones built in here. There are non-motorized events and there are motorized events. So some people have non-motorized 360s and some have motorized. So you can kind of start from there. Right here, you have a motorized spinner. So if we're just doing a spinner, I'm not doing the TV slideshow, I'm not doing anything else, I can literally just select motorized spinner. I want to create an event for a motorized spinner. Once I do that, you see on the bottom, it has a select option. Next, you would hit next. All you're going to do at this point is you're going to name your event. So this is going to be a preset motorized. So as we do that, we can just hit submit. What the system has done is it's made pre-made settings for everything. It's giving you a code to scan and activate in the software, which we will show you how to do that later. But if you go to my account and events, you literally can make an event in 5 seconds. So we've made a preset motorized event, and now we're able to scan into this event and test within this event without really a lot of knowledge of what we're doing. We can test with this. We can play with the settings. We can make it a longer or shorter recording session, but this is a way to make a really quick event just by going to create event from preset, and you're going to create which one you have. We've also made one for a sharing station. So if you need to make one for a sharing station, everything is really here. You even have, if you use TouchPix for your photo booth, with the iPad booths, with prints or digital, we've pre-made events for those as well for you also. So you have a ton of pre-made events where you can just kind of get started and, edit as you go along, as you learn the software a little bit better. Well, what I do want to focus on today is create custom event. So when you're creating a custom event, you're really going to be setting all the settings manually to what you want them, up and down, longer recordings, boomerangs. You're going to make sure all your wording and your company's logos are in there. So you really kind of want to focus on what you're doing to kind of really build the full event yourself and understand each section. One thing I will say is, we always like to tell people that TouchPix is a photo booth software. It started off before 360s. You can use it with your iPad photo booths. You can print, you can do digital, but as we've evolved, we've added 360. So that's why most of you are here today. We want to learn, how do we do 360s with TouchPix. So some things we're going to see and some things we're going to show are not going to relate to a 360. It'll be more for a photo booth. So as we say, this is not needed or skip this section, it's going to be because it is based off a photo booth settings and not something you're going to need for your 360. So lastly, before we get started, one thing I will say is you always want to create a folder on your desktop. Have one folder. I have one here called TouchPix. Inside of this folder, I leave different images. I leave my overlays, anything that I really need to use for my events. I want to have it in one easy to use place. So when I go to use my set up my events, I know where I'm going to grab everything. So remember, make sure you have a folder on your desktop, name it TouchPix, and put everything TouchPix related, all your event overlays, logos, anything you're going to use, make sure you add that inside of that TouchPix folder. So as we get started, like I said, we're gonna go through every section. Every section has a section named General Settings, Printing. So if you have a question later on, make sure you write down what section we're in. So when you ask that question, we can relate it back to the section that you're asking about. So as we start an event, the first thing you want to do is create your event. Today, we're going to create an event. We're going to call it Webinar Wednesday, and you're going to name your event. I always like to make sure that I add the date of my events. And the reason I like to add my dates is if I go back to it in 3 months and the customer wants their gallery, and I say, what day was your party? My birthday was on 6/16. I can go back in that month and I can look and I can easily find my event instead of having them all called birthday 1, birthday 2, birthday 3. I know how to find it based on the month and then also the event name. Secondly, you're going to choose your language. So your language, you have an option of English, Dutch, Spanish, French. I'm going to choose English, but of course, whatever works best for you is what you're going to use. And your country, make sure you choose where you are. This is just some basic settings within the actual software. Anything with the asterisk next to it is required. And then also with most options, you're going to have a question mark next to it. If you hover over the question mark, it's actually going to explain more of what that section means, so that it kind of, when you're going through it, if you have a question, it's going to answer that question and why you would use that based on the software. So countdown. Anytime you go to a photo booth for 360 and you press start recording, it always wants to give you a buffering time for that customer to start recording. So you can say, hey, you're going to have 3 seconds before the picture takes, 3, 2, 1. And then it's going to create that countdown. So right here, it's asking you how long of a countdown would you want? Generally 3 is good, but as you play with your booth, as you play with the settings, as you play with your, as you spin it around, you kind of just want to see what works best for you, your customers. If it's manual, as you spin it, you may want a shorter one, you may want a longer one, but it's going to be really you playing with your software to get that best feel for how it works. Beep sounds. This basically just creates a beep that audible when it records and when it stops recording. Nothing that's needed, but definitely you can activate it. It's not going to hurt anything. mirror overlay preview. What this does is it takes your overlay and it's going to mirror it. So it's going to look, when you look on the phone, it's going to look opposite, but it's going to look opposite. It's putting it the way it's going to look when it records into the actual system. It's going to look right as when it creates it, but it mirrors it, so it's going to be opposite when you look at it on the screen. So one thing you can enable. Front and rear camera. We're going to stop right here for a second. With TouchPix, we're going to be using iPhone 11s and iPhone 12s. Any version of iPhone 11 or iPhone 12 is welcome and used. Not one is better than the other one. The 12s are newer, 12 Pro, 12 Max, you have the 12 Mini. So you have a ton of different options, but generally you want to stick with an iPhone 11 or 12. We don't want to go to iPhone X's, 10s, or anything below, because they don't have the same wide angle cameras and ultra wide angle cameras that the 11 and 12 has. And we want to make sure that we are using our rear camera for when we're doing slow-mo videos. Yes, the system will allow you to use your front camera. That's more of something that we typically use for photo booths. But as far as having the best video quality and having the best camera settings and camera options, you want to ensure you're using your rear cameras and also ensure you're using the iPhone 11 and the iPhone 12. Again, any version will work. iPhone 11, 11 Pro, 11 Pro Max, 12 Mini, all options will work doing the 360, but you do want to make sure you're using your rear camera, because that's usually one of the first things that we'll ask you when you say the video is not right, your camera settings not showing the same. Are you using your rear camera? So keep that in mind. Camera exposure menu, this gives you some options to actually change your exposure, your lens you're using. So you want to make sure we keep this enabled. So when you're in the software, you have an option to change your camera, your settings, things of that nature. QR app protection. This is something that we use more on the photo booth side. So I want you to leave that unchecked. And it's nothing that you're going to really need for your 360, because everything you're doing is going to be in hand. Your software is going to be in hand and no one else is going to be messing with it. So we're going to leave QR app protection unchecked. As we go into the second section, printing, as I stated earlier, we are creating videos with 360. So everything will be no printing. So we're going to change this drop down to no printing, and we'll be done in our printing section. So as we go to functions, a lot of us have a lot of questions about speeds, boomerang speeds, things of that nature. As we deal with 360 booths, we're going to, and everything TouchPix, the only thing that matters with 360s is the word slow-mo. So you see the last option over here is slow-mo. And that's a slow-mo function can record slow motion footage. The output is a video file. So everything else on here, photos, boomerangs, GIFs, and videos can all be unchecked. The only thing you're going to leave checked here is slow-mo. And like I said, we're only going to do slow-mo with 360. We don't need to do video. We don't need to do boomerang. We can actually add boomerang into our slow-mo videos right here with the settings. So as you uncheck these boxes, as you see when they were checked, there are tons of options. As you uncheck these options, there's only a few settings left that you would really need to do anything. So a few options. Slow-mo duration. Slow-mo duration is we hover over it. We'll use the question mark. The recording time of slow-mo footage. No, higher frame rates will increase the length of final output. So 3 seconds recording may result in 12-second video, which means if you take this right here, it takes a 3.5 seconds of recording. That means your customer is on a 360. They're standing there. You hit record. It's going to record for 3.5 seconds. After it creates that video, you may have up to a 12-second video. Keep this in mind. We don't want 30, 40, 50-second videos. Depending on what your client requests or depending on what you're looking for, it may actually need to be longer. It may need to be shorter. We've had clients say, hey, I want a 5-second video. I want them up there, created and gone, and with a short, quick video. Or you may have clients who want a longer video, but a typical video length, 15 to 20 seconds, will do general processing times, and it won't take so long. You want to kind of just keep it manageable. I generally wouldn't go over 6 under your slow-mo duration. Between 5 and 6 is going to be probably your standard settings. But as you, again, play with your software, play with your 360, you'll figure out what number is best for you. Right next to slow-mo duration, everyone make a note, you have slow-mo boomerang. So what this does is it takes that video that you just created, they're moving, they're hanging out, it gets to the end, and then it reverses that video and boomerangs back. So let's say that that 3.5-second recording was a 12-second video. Well, now you're going to have a 24-second video because it's going to boomerang and it's going to double your video length. So this is how one is going to make it a little bit bigger for you. So it's a good thing. It's a great effect. People love it. But just kind of remember, if you have your time over here combined with your boomerang speed, is going to be how long your actual video creates. And you kind of really want to be careful with that. So, but the slow-mo boomerang should be enabled. Audio file. So we're going to have a ton of questions about audio. This group is based off of software. We don't typically show you where to get audio from. I'm going to have someone post in the chat a few areas where you can get music from. What you do want to search for is for royalty-free music. You want to protect your business. You want to make sure that your business is not being sued, looked at, because you're using the newest song out there that some record label owns, and now they want to come and make an example out of your company because you've made such success on your videos, and they know you're making a ton of money, but then you're using their music to do so. So really, you want to make sure you focus on royalty-free music. You can Google that. We'll add a few links into the chat. But as we go along, as you add music and you get your music, again, you can choose to add whatever music you like. But please do not ask in the group, and please do not ask us, where can I get, you know, the newest Beyonce song to download and to use in my video? We're probably going to either ignore it, or we're going to delete the post, or we're just going to tell you to go find royalty-free music. But whatever song you choose to use, one big thing I do want to say is make sure that when we're adding this file, you can add this right here. This is where you add music. It's in your same function section of your event setup. Make sure when you choose a file, you've already taken that file. Most files are about 2 to 3 minutes in length. You don't want to add a 3-minute song for a 30-second video. It's going to cause problems in the system. It'll only play on some of your videos. It may cause your videos not to record. So you do want to find different programs that can actually take that song, cut it down to a 30-second, 20-second song, and then you want to add that into your audio files here. So this will be a good area to add that. And there's one, and this is a good website where you can actually go to actually cut the song, make it smaller. It's something where you can actually download the software. If you take a picture of this, add it to your notes. And this is something that you can actually create that 3-minute song. You can shorten it. You can fade it in and out. It's been a favorite, and it's something you can do right on your computer. So keep this in mind. This is a good way to make your event look a little bit more professional, but also by doing it the right way. Lastly, in this section is screen flash. This is something, again, that's for photo booths. So we're going to leave that unchecked, and we're going to be down here with the function section. Timeouts is very easy. So again, most of this stuff right here is geared towards using this as a photo booth software, not a 360 software. The only thing you want to make sure of is sharing is set to a number. So generally, I set it to 15. Anything else in this section, I'm going to make sure it's set to 0. Surveys, you know, sometimes you have a corporate client with a photo booth. They say, hey, I want to have a survey with every customer. I want to know if it's male, female. I want to know what part of the world they're from. Well, for 360, we're not going to use that. Editing, we're not going to be drawn on the screen, change anything, and we don't really need to say thank you after every 360 video because we're going to be controlling the software ourselves, and it's not really customer faced. So really the only thing in this section you want to have is sharing set to 15 or whatever number you choose. So let me explain why. This sharing number represents when you go to your gallery on your phone, your iPad, and a customer clicks their video to share to themselves. If you have this set to 0, when they click that video, it's going to open up and it's going to close, and it won't allow them any time to actually share that video with themselves. So what you want to do is make sure this has a value set here, so then they actually have 15 seconds to then share that video and text it to themselves. The next section is sharing. So this is going to be how you're going to share these with your customers. We have a ton of options where you can actually share, airdrop, text it, and email it. Your most popular one is going to be SMS, email, and SMS is going to be text messaging, email, download, airdrop, and QR code, which means everything in the middle, Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter, and copy, we're going to remove from our event. One, you don't want anyone logging into their personal accounts, Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter on your iPads, your iPhones. So we'll make sure that's not an option for them. Texting and emailing. Texting is usually the biggest one that most people are going to do. Emailing, some corporate events, some customers may want to just send an email. Download option needs to be added. When you use an iPhone and you send a customer a text on an iPhone, they need to have a download link to be able to download the actual video and save it to their phones. So if you don't add download, your iPhone customers will not be able to download that video once they get the text. AirDrop for all of us non-Apple people. AirDrop is a quick way for you to exchange music, pictures, any file between Apple devices, which means if you're in an event and your internet is bad and your SMSs are not coming through, you can generally just AirDrop your customers who have iPhones their videos very quickly. So having this option right here on the software helps you to do that. And then lastly, a QR code. The system will create a QR code for the customer to scan and be able to download that video instantly for you. So in the same sharing sections, because we did choose SMS and email, it then gives us an option here to edit what that customer sees under the email or SMS. So make sure you have your company name here. Make sure you have any information in that text message that you will want that customer to see once they get their video. I'm going to do TouchPix as my company's name. I can do my phone number is 313-345-3456. I can make sure my IG is available for that customer to see, and then maybe even want to have it so they have my website. And then, like I said, really brand your text messages. This is your business card. If a customer doesn't take a card, but every time they go to re-download that video, they'll see that your information. So when someone says, what company did that? They already have that information saved in their message. So you want to try to brand your text and your email or any way you share as much as possible. So keep that in mind. Next section is props. This is going to be a 360. We're not going to be using any type of props, virtual props. So we'll make sure to have no props. Branding. So within the branding section, you can do a few things. You can put your company's name in here. So we can do TouchPix. We can add logos. We can change how the background looks on our gallery screen or on our iPad. And as you do these things, again, you're going to brand it. If I have a client who pays me enough and they say, hey, we're with Pepsi and we want everything to say Pepsi. But guess what? My background on my iPhone, my iPad is probably going to say Pepsi. So, I can go right here to the app background. I can choose the file, and then I'm going to choose a file that correlates with it. So right here, as I do downloads, I can go to my desktop. And remember, I made that folder that said TouchPix, and I'm going to just grab an Instagram logo. So I can add that logo. So now on my iPad, it's going to say Instagram on there. If I want to change my app logo, I can do the same thing. I can go to my desktop, go to my TouchPix, and I can choose that Instagram logo. And now my app logo is also going to be that logo. So really make sure you have the right files to brand your equipment, to brand your customer experience, because the last thing you want them to see is any other company's name. You want them to see what you show them, and that's going to make you look very professional. Your next section is data collection. Again, we talked about surveys. We won't be doing surveys on the 360, but this is where you would do it for like a photo booth. Triggers. So as we spoke about the trigger box, there's a few different things where you can trigger your software for. And generally when you're using an iPhone, so there's different ways you can use. You can do an iPhone, you can do a GoPro. We will do a separate webinar on GoPros, some, plus, some deltas and some why you would use it, why you wouldn't use it. But for right now, we're going to really focus on iPhones. The trigger is enabled here. So if you enable triggers, it's going to have two options. Your two triggers are going to be a face trigger or a movement trigger. Your face trigger is going to go, let's say you have a client that gets on your 360. When the iPhone camera senses that there is a face in front of it, it will then start your countdown. Remember the countdown we set up here? It'll start that 3-second countdown before it starts recording. So the face trigger is real nice, unless you have a ton of people playing around, getting in front of your camera. You may have some false starts, but it's a way that you can actually start recording without having to do it yourself every time. Your next option is going to be a movement trigger. So as you then press your button to start your 360, the movement trigger will sense that the iPad is moving or your iPhone. As it senses your iPhone is moving, it will then take that, it will then start your countdown and start to record by itself. So it's a really, really good way to kind of take a little bit out of your of what you have to do. Some people don't like to have to hit the button to start, spin, and press start. So this will actually start that trigger of that recording by itself whenever it senses your iPhone's motion. You can actually choose on here, how sensitive it is, because sometimes every time someone gets on your 360 and they stand and they bounce a little bit, it'll start recording. So then you may have to change your sensitivity to low. If it's moving but it's not starting to record, you may want to go to medium or high until it's more sensitive to the movement and it's going to start recording at the right times for you. So this is really something you definitely want to play with. Again, a lot of what you do with TouchPix is going to be user error. It's going to be trial by error and just really just getting in there and playing with it. So definitely try your triggers, see how that works, and you can, up or down and decide if that's what you want to use for your event. Your last option is going to be external screen section. And what this does is you have two different options. If you enable this, you can actually take from your iPhone, you can share you can do an external session. What it does is once you start recording, it will show the customers that's on the platform standing there having fun. And then after it finished creating your video, it will then play back that video and give a QR carousel right here. It'll give a QR code to download if you have QR selected. And then again, it'll show the live view of them on the platform if you have live view selected. This is really good for customer engagement, getting attention to your 360 booth, and just generally, it's a really, really good way to showcase and then share those videos. Once that video is shown, it'll show a QR code. It shows the last 4 to 5 videos. Customer can take their phone, scan the QR code, and now they have their video. They didn't need to go to a sharing station. You didn't have to text it to them. It's an easy way to share. So kind of keep that in mind. This can be done with using any Apple TV device. So Apple TVs, 3rd generation and newer, doesn't have to be brand new. You can find them a lot cheaper on Facebook Marketplace, eBay, things like that. But Apple TV 3rd generation can be used with any TV, or there are TVs that have Apple AirPlay built in. Make sure you check the settings. The benefit is if you use an Apple TV device, you don't need an internet connection to do so. So this is one big area where you can really add some fun to your event and a lot of visuals there where people around can kind of see what you're doing. The second option is you won't have the option to do a live view. You won't have an option to do the playback, but what it will do is it will show you a picture of the video and it'll show you a QR code under it. So then you'll be able to still share those videos with your clients. It just won't do the video playback and everything like that. So you have an option of either a slideshow or an external session. The slideshow can be ran off of your main device if using an iPhone, or it can also be ran off of your sharing station if using a second device to share videos with your clients. So as we get, this is going to be the end of the first section. As we go to the end, we're then going to hit submit. And then as we hit submit, it's going to create a QR code. And as I showed you earlier, every event you creates its own QR code. This QR code will then allow you at some point to scan that code and then to jump into the your event through your actual TouchPix software on your iPhone or your iPad. But as we're keep moving forward right here, we're going to jump into our next section, and this is going to be designer. So at the top, you see the option for designer, or after you create your event, if you're following along with me, you have the option to go to designer. Give me one moment, please. Okay, so as we go to designer, this is going to be where you're going to create those cool templates for your customers. You're going to really brand the experience for them, and you're going to make it so that event is more like their own. How you choose to do that with every customer, what information you're going to need to brand those events are totally up to you. But what we're going to do is show you the basics of how to use designer. how there's actually a 15-minute video that goes a little bit more in depth, but we're going to give you the basics to just show you some things you can do based in Designer. So the first thing I will say is anytime we go to Designer, the first thing you always want to do is choose your template size. So on the left, you have your menus. You have uploads, templates, text, background, and stickers. Template is going to be your first thing you always go to in Designer. And what you want to do is you want to make sure, again, anything we deal with 360 is always going to be slow-mo overlays. So as we choose slow-mo overlays, this will give us the 5 template sizes that we actually can do when we're doing slow motion videos on TouchPix. So as I go to the second section, which is uploads, I'm going to do this for you right now. I'm going to hover over custom overlay. If you have your phone with you, the second section that says animated video boomerang burst, these are going to be your 5 template sizes. So if you currently do your own designs, you create your own templates, these are the sizes you would need for the 5 different template sizes: template 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Or if you have someone else create them, they will need to know these specs in order to create your templates. So again, take a picture if you can, but it's under uploads, and then it's under the question mark over custom overlays. That's going to be a big part of where you're going to do how you get your sizing to make sure you have the right size for your overlays. And then these sessions are recorded, so we'll be posting these into the group tomorrow for anyone to be able to go back to and look through. So as we go into Designer, the first thing we want to do is do our template sizes. What I will say as our general template size, most people in the group, they use number 2. Number 2 is going to be a square. And it's going to be easily uploadable to Facebook, to Instagram, to any of those areas where you want to upload online without having to cut off part of the video or resize it to make it, fit into the screen. Generally, I do template 3. It's more of a wide angle view, or template 4, which is a little bit wider. But like I said, generally you do have 5 templates, so just make sure your template size corresponds with the template size you want to use for your customers' videos. So we're going to choose overlay 2 for today's example. And so after we choose that, again, what we did was we went to templates on the left-hand side, we went to slow-mo overlays, and then we chose our template size. Next, we can then go to uploads. So with uploads, there's a few things you can do in here. The first thing we can do is we can do custom sticker. And this is going to be, you want to add any type of images, you want to add logos, you want to add anything like that to your actual event itself. And then the second thing is if you already have a fully pre-made overlay. So if I do custom overlay and I were to go into my downloads, this is one I borrowed from someone, so I'll use it really quickly. So if you click it, what it does is it'll add that overlay right to your left-hand side right here. If I were to click it, it would then add that overlay over the actual picture. And as you see, this is the wrong size overlay for this template because it doesn't cover the full template correctly. So this is one thing you will want to really pay attention to if you're making overlays. Like I said before, you want to make sure you do have the right size for that overlay. So like if I went back in here and I tried this one, I'm sorry. And this is going to be a square overlay, I believe. And see how that fits a whole lot better? So now that overlay fits over the whole area. It's going to be on the actual overlay. It's going to cover it from top to bottom, and this is going to be an actual square. So this is a good way if you have someone creating it. All we typically do is go to custom overlay. We're going to browse. We're going to go to that folder, like I said, where we hold everything at, and then we're going to add that overlay to our event. But for today's purposes, I'm going to show you how to be a little bit more creative on your own. And we're going to do some things, just kind of show you what you can do. A lot of people, you don't want to pay getting started for someone to do your designs. You want to do them yourself, or you want to learn this craft and everything about it. So what we really want to do is we want to kind of give you those tools. So again, I'm Charles. Nice to meet y'all. I'm from Chicago, so I want to always represent Chicago in everything I do. So as I go to my desktop, I'm going to go to that folder, and then I'm going to click, I want to choose a image on here. So let's say I wanted to add my logo, and we're going to go ahead, we're going to click that logo. So right here under, when I added it as a sticker, it's going to add a little section for stickers I've added. So now I can click that sticker and it applies it right to the left side of my overlay. I can then take that and I can really put it anywhere I want. I can resize it bigger or smaller, and I can put it anywhere I want on my template to make sure that I'm then able to, you know, add my logo, add the customer's logo, whatever I want around my template. If I go back to uploads again, I can go back to that same folder and, you know, I can look for anything that, you know, we have. So right here, like I said, I'm from Chicago. So this is going to be an image that I downloaded on Google. Again, it added to my sticker section. I click it, it adds it to my overlay, and you're able to, again, make that as big or small as you like. You can make it fit your whole image. You can make it just fit partial of your image. And then you take that image and then you're going to just line it up where you want it. If you look on the top right here where I'm hovering over, it says enable grid. This will help you to be able to make sure that whatever you're doing is centered on your actual overlay so that you have a good look of how everything is. So me, what I just did was I added the Chicago skyline to the bottom of my overlay. And then I'll go back to my logo. And, you know, we can move that around. So the black is going to cover it up. So we'll, you know, put the skyline on the bottom, and then we can maybe put the logo right here on the side. Lastly, you know, you want to add a little bit more glitz and glamour. You know, anything you have, you can kind of just add to the, you know, to the picture. If you had a second overlay, you can bring that in. And you can also add that on the overlay as well. So, you know, sometimes less is more. A lot of time with 360, less is more, but, you know, it's going to really depend on what your client has asked you to provide them. And then depending on what they've asked you to provide them is what you're going to then add on there. And now let's say that I had an overlay. So these overlays, if you search the group for Matt Calvert, and if anyone's not currently in our Facebook group, if anyone's not currently in our Facebook group, we are, it's called TouchPix Users Group. There are some free overlays in the group. Matt Calvert has provided. He's done some free animated overlays. So there's some things you can really start with. So what I'll do is I want to start with one of these overlays that he's given us, and I can then bring that in as a sticker. And we can take that and we can even drag that size out. So we can drag it out and I can add that to my overlay. So I've added a border, I've added some logos, I've added the Chicago skyline. So again, it's a lot that you can do within TouchPix. And you can even go to text on the left side and you would choose what size text you want. And then we can add that text to the event as well. And then we can expand it out. And we can really kind of double click it and we can change what it says. So TouchPix celebration. And again, we want to make sure we use this grid to make sure that we're really centering it to where the center of the actual item is. So this is the overlay I've created. Not the best looking overlay. That's why I don't do design. But what you want to lastly do is on this screen right here, we are going to do we're going to make sure that you have the right event selected. So this one is called Webinar Wednesdays. We've made it today. We're going to make sure we add it to the right event and hit add template. This is a very simple way to create your overlay. You add your template and now it's going to show up on your template screen at the end of your event. So we are done in Designer. So I'm going to go back and do a quick tutorial Designer just so you know how easy Designer is and kind of make it a little bit easier than everything we just done. When you go to Designer, there's a few things you can do. But generally, if you already have an overlay and you're not building anything, Designer is literally 6 steps to add your overlay. You're going to choose template. Make sure you're on slow-mo overlays. And you're going to choose your correct template size. You're going to go to uploads. And then if you already have an overlay created, you can choose custom overlay. And you're just going to choose that from their folder to add your overlay to your event. Once it shows up, you're going to click it and it adds your overlay. Top right, you're going to choose the right event. Remember, you're going to have more than one event in here. Choose your right event and hit add template. And once you do that, that's the easiest way. That's the easy way to explain Designer is very easy. It's very user friendly. You're simply choosing your template size, you're choosing your artwork, and then you're adding it to the correct event. Cool. So as we get out of here, we've done two things. We've created our event today, and I'm gonna go back to under events in my account. And we've also, if we go under overlays, under the event we created, and we've added an overlay, it will then show that overlay that we created with the logos, the Chicago skyline, and the area around it. The cool thing is now that it's set, that means your event has all the right artwork. It's set to your correct settings. So now you can test, go do your event, and this is where we are. One last thing I want to show you is once you have this overlay created, so that you don't, like, let's say you want to add something to it later. Well, what you can do is actually right click it, and you can just hit save image. When you save the image, it'll actually save that file as an overlay. So then when you come back and you can just pull it in as custom overlay, that file is already created and you don't have to redo all your work. You can't edit anything that's already completed on that overlay, but what you can do is bring that overlay in and add to it. So as we go to our last session, what we're going to do is we are going to break down how to then now take the event you've created, and we're going to add it to our iPhone, and then we're going to start from there. So give me 5 minutes to get set up, and I'll give you a 5-minute break, grab you a drink, and we're going to start back in 5 minutes, and we're going to finish this up with showing you how this incorporates to your actual software, and then we're going to do some Q&A starting about 9:40. So like I said, give me 9:25, and we're going to start back with the last section. Okay, we're gonna get started in just 2 minutes, 2 minutes countdown. Okay, so we are back. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna show you how the software itself correlates, to what we're doing, and how we're gonna then take what we've already created and we're going to apologize. And we're gonna take what we've already created and we're going to activate that event for you. So as you know, what we've done already, we have an event here, and that event was what we created on touchpix.com. Anyone who's back, we're going to take this event. So as we go to my account, we're going to go to events. Again, remember, these are all the events that we created. And today we've created 2 different events. We've made the webinar Wednesday 616. And what we're going to do now is, as I showed you earlier, we're going to duplicate this event. The reason we're going to duplicate the event is we want to take those exact settings, but we're going to make a second event for a sharing station. And what this is going to do is it's going to allow us to be able to add a sharing station if we want to. It's very simple. You take the event we just made, that sharing, we're going to keep the same name, Webinar Wednesday 616, and then we're just going to add sharing station to it. All the settings at this point can stay the same. There are things you can change in the future, but what we do want to make sure is that we've created a sharing station event. So now you see it has yet again created a QR code. I'm going to go back a little bit. I'm going to go back to our events. We have 2 different events here. We have our event that's called Webinar Wednesday 616, and we have Webinar Wednesday 616 sharing station. So the way we're going to activate these events is we're going to pull up the code. So what I want to do is I'm going to start first with the QR code for the sharing station. And what we're going to do is put the QR code for the sharing station. And as we do this, give me 1 second. QR code. 1 second. Try to make sure you guys can see as much as possible. And that's not working for me. All right, here we go. So we are going to take this event. Exit full screen. We're going to do sideways here. Cool. So on the phone, what we're going to do is we're going to start with the sharing station. So I'm actually going to show you on my iPhone. So right here, if it works. All right, give me 1 second. Okay, so if you look right here on the right side of my iPhone, what I'm going to be showing you is this is my screen for my iPhone. DJ1, you there?
He was assisting somebody with an issue.
Okay, not a problem. Okay. And I'm assuming you can't, can anyone see my screen? For on the right side with the iPhone?
Yes, it's just black.
It's just black, okay. Okay. So we're gonna do this a different way today then. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're going to show you, let me see. So basically on here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our iPad. So this is my sharing station, you can see it. So I'm gonna open the TouchPic software. And when you open the TouchPic software, you have a few options. You have the options to do demo test events. The three on top are demo test events. When you hit subscription, you have the option to choose a weekly, a monthly, or a yearly subscription, or to restore a previous purchase. When you go back to the main screen, there's an option that says activate event. If you take your iPad or your iPhone and you hit activate event, it brings up a camera to scan a QR code. I currently have the QR code on the screen. So if I were to scan that QR code, what it'll then do is it will read that QR code and it will activate the event. It brings over the overlay. It brings over all settings for that event. So the good thing about this is once you scan it, now you are actually in the event. Everything is actually saved on that actual device. So this is my sharing station. So what I did was I scanned the sharing station QR code that you see in front of you. If we go back to the events, I also made the regular Wednesday event, and this is the one I'm going to be recording off of. So if I pull up QR code for that, I can actually do the same thing with my phone. I would pull up TouchPics. And then after I pull up TouchPics, I will have the option to then activate an event. And then once that event is activated, it'll then be on the same screen in which I can do any of my videos, things of that nature. Give me 1 second. So after we activate that event, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take this QR code that's on the screen or the QR code that you created earlier as you were following along, and you're going to go into your recording device, which is your iPhone, and you're going to open up your TouchPic software. Once you open up your TouchPic software, all you're going to have to do is hit open on the software. You can hit activate event. You hit OK for camera access, and then you scan that QR code. As you scan that QR code, it then brings you to a section where it's going to load that event on that device, and it's going to load everything you have in order to set up that event, create that event, and make that event easier for you. Give me a second. And then as it opens, it's gonna give you 3 pop-ups. It's gonna ask you for access to the gallery. It's going to ask you for access to anything. It's going to ask you for access to the gallery. It's going to ask you for access to anything on the phone that it needs access to do videos. Make sure you read each selection. Make sure you say yes to the selections, and definitely make sure you say yes to having access to the gallery. Otherwise, what happens is when you do your videos, your pictures and your photos will not save, and that will cause an entirely different problem. So you definitely want to make sure that while you're doing that, make sure you're actually watching all of the pop-ups that may come on your device as you go along. Cool. So now we have this back up as far as my screen. So once I open the TouchPic apps on the phone, this is what you're going to see in front of you. A few things that I definitely want to tell you about. On the bottom, you're going to see where it says slow-mo with the play button. That's the button you're going to press to record your sessions, to start your slow-mo. If it's turned sideways at your event, the button will be on the bottom a little bit, but it's going to be the same exact settings. On the top left, you're going to have an option that says gallery. When you hit gallery, it'll show you any photos that you have on your event. And it'll also show you, you'll be able to select the image, text, email, or anything of that nature. And lastly, on your left-hand side, once you hit your menu button, so if you follow along with me, there'll be a settings option under there, camera, refresh, and close event. Generally, the only thing you're going to be doing here is using our settings. And the reason being is, if we actually use our settings on this section, we can actually go in, we can change. So when you do an event online, everything that you've made online is pretty much duplicated to your event when you scan your QR code. But if you need to make quick changes at your event, you will be able to go into your settings and you'll be able to change the duration of your recording. You'll be able to edit music if you have to at the last minute. So it really does help you to kind of make those quick changes at the end if you really need to. So that's one big area in your settings that you can do. We are having some technical difficulties, so give me a moment. We may just go into Q&A for the rest of the evening, but we're going to see if we can get this to work so that we can kind of show this to you. Okay, so we're back into the software. So like I said, as you go into TouchPic, you'll have the option, like right now, I didn't choose access to my gallery, so it gave me an error, but we can definitely change that in a little while. So as we go into menu, you'll have settings, camera, refresh, and close event. These are the camera settings that you have access to. The first thing you always want to do, give me 1 second. Okay, the first thing you always want to do is make sure you go into settings. We have a few things. So this top part right here, you're not going to use right now. Make sure this always says none at the top. This will be for a new option we have coming out called ScanPix. It'll give you an option to not need internet at your event, connect, really create, really be able to scan a QR code and have access to your full gallery without internet. It will require a little bit of hardware. We're getting that hardware list together for you now, but it's something that we're going to be debuting very shortly, and it'll be an awesome option for like corporate events or really for any event if you want to be able to be do a full event with no internet but still be able to share. As we go down, the big thing is, like I told you, front camera, back camera. Always make sure this back camera option is selected when using your iPhone. It's going to give you the better quality, better slow-mo settings, and FPS. As we go down, these are the things you can change. As you see your countdown, let's say you made a 3-second countdown, but you really want it to be 5. You can actually change this right in the software to create that 5 and change it right here. You can change your video quality. The higher the quality, the bigger your file size, the longer it takes to create your video. So you have low quality, it starts on medium quality, you have high quality, and you have ultra high quality. I generally stay on ultra high quality or high quality, but it all depends on the video I'm looking for, the loading time, how many clients I have trying to get through a line. So that'll be a big part of it. But a lot of what we changed online, we can change here, and we can make those quick adjustments while we're at an event. So you don't need a laptop with you at an event. Your laptop is used to set up your event before you leave, but you don't need to carry one with you at an event. So as we go back to menu, you have camera settings. Once you click camera settings, give it 5 seconds to load. Once it loads, there's a few things here you really can change. Your lens settings is currently on wide. You can change that to ultra wide. When you change it to ultra wide, what it'll do is it'll give you a bigger field of view. So this will help with people trying to get full body shots, things of that nature. It's really going to be a good area right there to change. Lastly, your slow-mo speed, we should be set on 1920 by 1080, 120 FPS. There are 2 options with that. If one does not work for you, go to the other one, but generally the first one should work for you. Pretty much that's all. We're actually in a system now. So typically, if I were to take this camera and if I hit the slow-mo button on the bottom, I'm now making a video. It's my 3-second countdown. And now we're making a video. The 3 seconds is almost over for recording. And what it does is it then shows you as the video is made, what it's doing. It's adding slow-mo, it's cropping your video. It's going to add music if you added music to your video. And it's going to tell you this as it's going around. So that way, if your customer's looking over your shoulder, or if you just want to know what a process is, it tells you what we're doing. So we've now made a video. You see the overlay is added on there. The video is there and slow motion is in it. If you look at the bottom of the video, it gives you options to share. So now we can click email. We can email directly that video directly from the device. We can text. We can choose QR code. What this does is it loads a QR code that links to this file. If anyone were to scan this QR code, that video will pop up on their phone, and that will be an easy way for it to download. This does require a decent internet speed. And then lastly, if we had to airdrop, we can go ahead and click this. We can airdrop it to a device that's around, and then that device will pick up that video rather quickly. My iPad just picked it up in like 2 seconds. So,
Charles,
yes.
I was wondering if you might be able to show the exposure compensation to let people know. A lot of times people want to have their lights, and they want these bright lights, and it doesn't really need to be bright all the time because you can adjust that in the exposure compensation. So I don't know, maybe you can do a video with it brightened up and then compare it to the one you just shot.
Give me 1 second. You want to walk me through those settings for him?
Okay, so you see where it says, you go back to auto face exposure. You can do it there.
Okay.
Okay, so on the right side, the second one down, exposure, you can tap on there, and then, yeah, you can do, let's say, scroll down to maybe, let's say plus, a 2.0. Something along the lines. And so now that's going to make the screen brighter. So if you to record a session from the way you just did it, facing that wall, you'll see that it's brighter.
And what this is going to help, I'm assuming this one going to help. A lot of people do it outside events. They do events where it's dark and your lighting doesn't always help, but you can actually change those settings for your camera within the actual software. So, you have more control over your lighting than you really think.
Right. So, and during the sunlight, sometimes, people are backlit, that's another thing where people can just raise the camera arm higher so that the sun is just not going to be, that your capture device is not going to be pointed directly towards the sun.
Right.
So if you played this one and the other one that you just did, we can see the difference between the two.
So y'all see this is the first video, much darker. Only thing we changed was the exposure on it. And you have a much brighter image already.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So that's going to be a big part of what we do. And then lastly, what I'll do, we kind of want to go through is your sharing station. Everyone's last question is, how do we share videos? How do we have the option to do a sharing station? And, you know, how does that work? So generally, any videos that are going to be on my gallery here, this is my sharing station iPad. So as what I would want to do is I would want to take this iPad and I want to be able to use this iPad to have my customers to text their videos, email their videos, things of that nature. So as we go along, we can actually link the two devices so that then we're able to get all the videos from the recording device to your sharing station, and it's going to continuously feed those devices in throughout the night. There's a list of instructions that we can definitely send out, but there's some things you want to do. You do want to make sure that both devices, as you go into your settings, both devices, your Bluetooth is going to be on and your Wi-Fi is on. So your Wi-Fi has to be on and your Bluetooth has to be on. You want to make sure they are not both on the same Wi-Fi network. You do want to close both. You want to close both devices, TouchPics, and open up a fresh version on both devices. As you do that, you'll then have TouchPics open on both devices.
How do we add music to the video?
So remember, as we went back into the when we first started in our TouchPics online, that was actually an option right next to the slow-mo feed. So in your events, when you create your event and you do you edit, like I'm editing an event right now. When we created our event, there's an option right here in the top section that says add audio. And you just choose your file.
What's wrong with my app when my event won't close?
We can help you out with that. I'll go over that when we do Q&A. But generally,
Hello, good night. I wanted to ask, I have purchased,
hello?
yes.
We're gonna do Q&A in about 10 minutes.
Okay, not a problem.
Okay. Okay, so as we go along, we're gonna show you, like I said, you're gonna have TouchPics open on both devices. And as we tend to then want to connect them, it's gonna be a few things we're gonna follow as we connect TouchPics on those devices. We want to start with our receiving, which is gonna be the iPad in my hand, and we're gonna go to gallery. As we go to gallery, there's a button on top that says S on both devices. Like on my iPhone, there's on the screen, and in the camera, if you're looking at it, it says S. As we hit S, and this is my receiver, we're always going to select the receiver first. So we're going to do activate receiver. And what this does is it's now looking for any of the videos that's coming from the sender. If you look on the screen, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to hit the S, and I'm going to do activate sender. And what it should do is it should actually find, it should give me an option. You can't see it there, but it actually says AJR iPad. And I'm going to choose that option of the iPad right there. You can see it. And it's going to then create a connection between the two devices. So it shows connected. You can leave the gallery. All files will be sent over. So as I leave the gallery on my recording device, you see they're already starting to pop up on my receiving device. So now if I wanted to share with a customer, I can generally just click that video. I can click text message, and then I can text them the video right from the receiving device. Also, as a last test for you, so you see both videos has transferred. What we're going to do is we're going to do one last video. And as we do this video, we're going to see how fast it actually comes to populate on it populates on the actual screen. So as the video is loading, it'll take about 15 to 20 seconds to load. Once that video loads and we hit next, we'll look on the screen right here in the sharing station, and we'll see that what it does is it generates that video and it pushes over to the sharing station about 5 to 10 seconds later. So as we hit next here, that video is done. You can now go to your next customer. The customer is going to get off the 360. They're going to walk over to your sharing station. As they're walking over, like I said, that 10 to 15 seconds, that video now has just loaded to the receiver. So the sharing station is that easy. Once you connect them, it's going to create that that connection between the two. What you do want to make sure is you're not leaving the TouchPix app once you create that connection. By leaving the TouchPix app, you may lose that connection by going to your messages. Any other app is going to break that connection where you have to resync them. So really kind of keep that. Last thing I'm going to do within the software is I'm going to show you this on the actual recording device. Someone did just ask about closing out your event. So as you hit menu on here, you see an option that says queue. If you click queue, what this does is it'll actually show you where everything is. So you might have had 100 customers, and each customer, what tends to happen, and that's our picture just came through that we text. Each customer that you tend to help, they're going to have a video that gets text to them or that gets upgraded to our web gallery. But sometimes you don't have internet. So when you get home, you'll see that you have 50 videos and you have 50 things in queue. So all you generally have to do is what I generally do is I connect to my home internet. I will first I will close out TouchPix. I will swipe it closed so that it's fully closed, and I will open it back up. I will then go to queue and I will see what's left. I generally will re-upload all my queue files, and then after it re-uploads everything, it'll start to resend those things back to your queue. You see how they went from gray to green? Because my internet connection is fast, that went pretty fast. If it was a little bit slower during the day, it would take a little bit longer. You can also hit sync with web, and what that's going to do is it's going to make sure that all videos you have on your phone are then part of your web gallery. And then lastly, when you go back to do your close out your event and you're going to scan your QR code to close event, once everything is already uploaded, the closing process will be a lot easier because it's not trying to push files. When you generally close your event, it's trying to make sure all your text messages have been sent. It's making sure all of your things have been updated to gallery. So if you make sure that's done before you close your event, you're going to have an easier time closing your gallery, but still making sure you're on a good internet connection is going to be a big part of that. So as we go along, like I said, you'll realize that everything you do is type of internet based for sending, uploading to gallery, but running your events you don't need internet for. So that is one good thing. So that's your full run through on TouchPix. It gives you a little bit of how to get started as we go. Make sure you remember that anything we do, any questions you have, go through the group. Me, myself, George, DJ1, Jessica, they're all available in the group to help at any time. And we're going to be your support in getting through the software, getting your 360 moving, and just getting the right questions answered for you. We're there throughout the day. So if it takes a few minutes to answer, just feel free to shoot us a message, and we'll definitely be part of the process to be helpful. And then last thing I want to say is just don't forget that we do have the DJ and Photo Booth Expo, the Marquee Show in Chicago next Monday through Thursday. Great place to be to learn about the booths, to find new booths, to ask questions to the hardware providers, add something new to your business, whether you're a DJ or you want to add the 360, play with it in person. There'll be props, there'll be tons of stuff. So it's a great industry event. And TouchPix will be there. We're doing a raffle for a 360, and we'll have a special for a 1-year software. So definitely, if you can join, feel free to join, whether it's for 1 day or 2 days. It's something great to be a part of. And with that being said, I'm going to end this right here. Anyone that needs to go, I know it's late in some areas, feel free to hop off. There will be a recording of this tomorrow that we will post in the group. And I'm going to open up Q&A for the next 30 minutes. And we can answer any questions that anyone has. Feel free to unmute yourselves, and we are here to answer questions.
I had a quick question. On the TV, how do I make the carousel and also the company logo bigger?
So I don't think you can make it bigger. I think it has set sizes already.
How do I toggle the sizes?
What was that?
Is there a way to toggle between sizes?
No, as I'm saying, I think it has a set size in there. So once you upload your overlay, there's a certain spot that goes into, but you're not gonna be able to stretch that within there. It's already preset in the software.
Okay.
I have a question. I know that you, when you did your sharing station, when you activated your iPad for the sharing station, you did it all on the computer. So what happens if I just use the iPad and just completely work from my iPad? How would I do my share? How would I activate the event from the iPad and then go back to the phone to activate the event? Does that make sense?
So that's one reason why I always suggest being at a computer, because if you're at a computer, you have a different screen to use. So
Okay.
generally, I've been places, like let's say I'm at an event and I have to close out my software and reload it, and I only have an iPhone. The problem is you can't scan a picture on the device you're using. So you're gonna have to have at least 2 devices. So let's say you have your personal phone with you right now. You can create the event on your iPad. You can go on your phone and you can take a picture of that QR code, and then you can use and then go back on your camera on your software on your iPad and scan the QR code on your phone. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I did it last week. I was talking to someone in TouchPix group, and I was excited because I had an event and it worked out well, and I totally forgot how to do it. It's really mind-boggling because I'm like, go over to one, then go to the other one. But I guess it does make sense to have another form to be able to complete it. I'll try my best to do it that way.
Yeah, and I mean that's an awesome question, because I when I first started, I did the same thing, and I'm like, what am I doing? But what I would say is, everyone, as you create your events and you go to your events, make sure you take a picture of your QR codes. That way, if you for any reason you have to reinstall your software, you already have your QR codes in your phone, and you don't have to try to log into software. Because typically, when we get to events, we are at people's homes, we are venues, and they have horrible Wi-Fi. So make sure you have a picture of that QR code. You know, just for yourself. Take a screenshot. It makes your life so much easier.
Thank you.
Hi, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
I had purchased a $75 animated effects, but now it's giving me a hard time to download the zip file.
Okay, and if you go into your My Account and you go into orders and you try to click it from there.
Correct. It won't download. As soon as it starts to download, it says download failed.
Okay, on Facebook, you can reach out to me. It's C_LO Rogers. CeeLo Rogers.
Hold on, sorry. CL_.
I'm putting it in chat for you right now.
Oh, thank you.
And if you message me, I can go ahead and help you get that downloaded.
All right, thank you so much.
No problem.
GoPro?
One more time for me.
Will you be going over the GoPro on how to use the GoPro? Or can you send me a video about it? Or do we talk?
There's actually, if you Google TouchPix YouTube, there's so the GoPro has very few changes besides what we just did. The biggest thing, and I'm gonna show you really quickly. So the problem is GoPro connects on Wi-Fi, so I'm not really able to show you on my phone, because as soon as I go to select to it, it changes. But there's a few things you do. You generally are going to go to your phone or your iPad, and you're going to go to your GoPro software, which is the Quick app. And then once you go here in the top right corner, you see the little GoPro icon. You're going to click that, and all you're going to do is click Control Your GoPro.
Okay.
And then once you do that, you connect to your GoPro through Wi-Fi.
Got it.
And then on your actual software, you go to Menu, Settings, and then you change it to GoPro, and you're under your settings. So let me see. I'm gonna try to do a short one for you and try to show you really quickly. Can you see my iPad? Can you see my iPad on the screen?
Yes.
Okay, I'm holding. All right, so when we go to it, if we go to the Quick app.
Oh no, I only see the little icon that you have here. Yeah, I see your cursor.
Can you look at my camera? Maybe you can see it on there, possibly. No. Let me see.
There we go. I can see you now.
Okay, so as you go to the GoPro app, you're going to hit the little icon at the top that says Control GoPro. So then all we're going to do is click Control Your GoPro. And what it does is it looks for the GoPro connection. So I actually have my GoPro in the hallway. It's dark, you can't even see it. So it's actually connected. All we do from here is we go back and we toggle back to our TouchPic software.
Uh-huh.
And in the menu settings, there's a go to settings, and there's an option that says camera. And you change that to GoPro.
Don't come in here with that noise. I'm in bed.
Uh-oh.
Change that to GoPro. So as we change that to GoPro, and we hit slow-mo recording, it's not going to show you a live view of what you're recording, but now it's recording using that GoPro that's going to be on your arm. And then once it's completed, it takes about 15 seconds to switch that, to bring that GoPro, to bring that video over to the iPad. Then it takes about 20 to 30 seconds to process that video. I'm probably going to do it on Monday next week. I'm going to do probably like an hour just on GoPro. Some of the ins and the outs and what we do. But then after that video is created, it'll then see how long it took compared to the phone. The phone
Yeah.
takes about 10 seconds to get there. The GoPro, you got about a 15 to 20 second wait before it starts to create that video. And then once now it creates that video, then it'll show the video that it creates, and then it'll go forward where you can share it. So your biggest option, your biggest difference is it takes a little bit longer, and you just have to connect to the GoPro app first.
Okay, thank you.
But like I said, look out for Monday or Tuesday next. Well, actually, no, because we'll be at the Marquee Expo. I'm still gonna try to do something on Monday or Tuesday, and we can just kind of go over a little bit for that. And then tomorrow's Thursday, Friday. Message me. We can go over it.
Thank
How do
you.
we add music
I have a
to our
question.
video?
Adding music to the video. So again, once you go into your settings, when you first created the event that we showed you on touchpix.com,
Why people
there's
don't
an
learn?
option.
I love
There's
that
a-
shit on my.
There's an option next to, can everyone mute their phones, please? There's an option next to slow-mo duration that you can actually choose the audio file that you want to add. Make sure it is cut down to 20 to 30 seconds. Make sure it's not the whole 3-minute file. But right here, when you create your event and it says slow-mo duration, 2 parts over, it says add audio. And this is where you would choose your file from your computer.
What type of TV should we purchase again to, put it all together?
So the TV, so you have 2 ways of doing it. There are TVs that have AirPlay built in. If you look at on the specifications on Best Buy, different sites, it'll tell you if it has AirPlay built in, or just Google AirPlay TVs. But with these, you need internet to be able to, you need internet on your phone and on the TV for it to be able to share and stream over. Otherwise, you can buy any TV you want and just get an Apple TV box. I'm trying to find it. It's a little box. It's an Apple TV box. I think I got this for $60 on Facebook Marketplace used. And then it'll connect to any TV. Benefit also, you go to a venue that has TVs on the wall, you can just hook this up to their HDMI and power it, and you can also use it on their TV they already have. So the little Apple TV box is recommended.
If you're
have
at
a
an event that's outside and you don't have Wi-Fi for the phone and the iPad, how are you supposed to sync it?
So the syncing between the phone and the iPad, one thing is you don't want them on the same Wi-Fi network. So the syncing between the phone and iPad for a sharing station does not use Wi-Fi. So now when a person is trying to share the video on your sharing station and text and email it, that part will not go through until you get back to a Wi-Fi source, but you do not need Wi-Fi to run any part of your event.
I have a question.
Go ahead, sir.
Good afternoon. I have a question. Can you use Generation 2 for the iPhone with an TV?
It may work. Generation 3 is preferred, I believe. I think it connects better. But I mean, that's definitely something you can try. But I know Generation 3 and up is what's recommended.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Another question about sharing. If the phone has cellular service, are you able to connect the iPad via Wi-Fi to the phone, still receive the pictures, so that the iPad now has service to send out those photos, those videos?
I would say yes, you probably can, but we recommend you not having the iPhone and the iPad on the same network. So if you're using the internet from the iPhone, you would then be on the same network.
what happens, or what is the negative impact of being on the same network?
It messes up the connection between the two, between any of the two Apple devices, whether it's the iPhone and the Apple TV or the iPhone and the iPad. It messes up the connection where it'll drop the connection. So that's why we don't want the same connection.
Okay, so like if I have a personal phone, it's probably best to connect that to the iPad so that those videos can go through my personal phone, which is separate from the other iPhone.
That's correct.
Okay.
No problem.
And just to clarify, you said you don't need internet service to run your
You said
event?
you was gonna leave it unmute.
I did. And then you said this was too loud, so you muted.
All right, go ahead and unmute your phone and ask that one more time for me.
I was saying, you said that we don't need internet to run our events?
You don't need internet to record videos, to
Okay.
send them to the sharing station. You don't need internet to do anything as far as 360, but you do need internet if you want to share.
Share, okay, got it.
Hey, I didn't receive your Instagram, your Facebook name on the chat. You said you was gonna put it there.
Yeah, it should have been in there. Give me 1 second.
Quick question. So we can print out the QR code for the event prior to the event so that people can just use it to see their videos later?
Yeah, so if you print out the QR code from their actual event public URL, they'll be able to see the videos as they load onto the website.
Okay, thank you.
And you get that,
I have a
you get that
question.
URL from designer, right?
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
Like the QR code that like I'm supposed to be printing out for the gallery. Is that the gallery that's in TouchPix?
Yes, it's the gallery in TouchPix, and then you click public gallery.
I'll click public gallery and then make it a QR code.
Correct.
All right, that was one of my questions of the night. Good job.
Give me 1 second, and I'm just reposting that. I'm reposting my name into the group again for you. Okay.
I have a quick question
How will we
about
get access
the videos.
to the replay?
The replays will be online tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, probably.
So it'll be on touchpix.com, or is it a certain link or something like that?
It'll be in our TouchPix Facebook group.
Okay.
And I'm posted also, it's called TouchPix Users Group. And then also with that being said, if you message me, I can also get it to you tomorrow as well.
So you're gonna put all this information in the chat so we can get it out the chat, like your information and what you just said.
Yep, it should be in there right now. I just put it in there. It shows 10:06. I put my name in there for Facebook, and I also put the name of the Facebook group.
Excuse me.
Yes, go for it.
Okay, I'm sorry. You were telling us like 1,200 by something or something like after the camera call. Can you show me that one more time, or just tell me the numbers and I can search it myself?
What part was it? What part are we talking about?
It was like you said it was two different ones we can use. It was like 1,200 by something. I couldn't even remember because I was walking back up to the phone and you were going to the next thing.
For the exposure to like
okay.
video.
Is that what it was? Thank you so much.
Okay, so as you go, I'm not sure if this is going to show on here. Okay, so as you go into your camera settings, you're going to go to menu and then you go to camera. And then once that loads, it takes about 5 seconds to load. There'll be an option that says slow-mo speed. And what you want to use is 1920 by 1080, 120 FPS.
Thank you.
No problem.
You didn't know. Hello?
Okay, so I have a, go ahead.
Oh.
Viewers looking for you on Facebook, and it's a lot of Rogers popping up.
And you did C space. You did C space LO.
Yeah.
Okay, are you part of the TouchPix users group?
Yes, I am.
If you go into there and search C space LO, it'll come up.
Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Questions?
Yeah, I have a question. So I'm seeing other people that
are having videos, and mine are not like a full screen. So when I upload like to say like I sent them to people and they're uploading them to Instagram, like the video is only like half a screen. But then if I look at someone else, like I have an aunt that has one and her videos are full screen. And so I changed, I reached out to someone and they told me to change it to ultra wide, the camera settings, but they told me to do 1920 by, hold on, let me see, by 60, I guess, instead of 120. He told me to change it to, for the slow-mo speed, 1920 by 1080 by 60 FPS. And but
That's
I
why I
had it
think
before.
people too.
He sent me a video, but it's not like the full screen. Is there,
Okay.
am I doing something wrong? Because
That's
I'm
gonna slow go crazy.
Go ahead, Bree. Keep going. You want to unmute yourself
Oh,
again?
okay. Oh, okay. So am I doing something wrong? Because I'm, when I go to the designer, I press, well, I got the video where he told me to press slow-mo option 3, but it's still not showing me like a full body, like a more of the body on the video.
So what I will say is this. So your view from your camera is going to be a few things. So when you go into camera settings, you want to make sure you're ultra wide. That's going to give you, using the iPhone, it'll give you more of a that kind of field of vision on there. Everything else I'm gonna say is gonna be more, it's gonna be your hardware. So you know your arm goes in towards the booth or out towards the floor more. You may you're gonna have to move that arm out a little bit more, and you're gonna get more of a video depending on how your arm is angled.
Okay.
And that's going to be a big part. Make sure you're using your back camera, make sure your arm is angled the right way, and make sure it's tilted to, you know, and then after it's angled, because you're going to be out more, then you're going to tilt it in more, but you're going to have to kind of play with your arm setting to really get different parts of that body, the view of the body.
Okay. So I did that. That's what I was thinking. I just thought maybe because my video wasn't a full, like the full screen when I upload, it's only half, that I was doing something wrong.
No, I mean, if it's cutting off the video when you upload it, then that would be just your settings, like in Instagram, like you can actually change.
No, it's not like that. It's cutting off because I what I did was I downloaded the app to squeeze it to like fit the whole filter on there. But what I'm saying is like her video fits the whole little thing that you uploaded. Mine, when I uploaded, the filter and everything's there, but it's only like half of the page. And I'm like, maybe I don't wonder why it's different.
Yeah, well, feel free to reach out to me and we can look at it with you.
Okay, I'll send it to you directly.
No
And I
problem.
just added in the group.
Send it to
Hi, I
the
have a question.
just do it on Facebook Messenger and I'll be able to take a look at everything.
Okay, thanks.
No problem. Go for it.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I wanted to know, we did an event on Monday and Tuesday, and in the middle of a few of the videos, it froze up. Is there a way to retrieve those videos, or they're just lost?
If it did it save it to your gallery, to your photos?
No.
So generally, if it didn't save it to your photos, it probably didn't finish creating the video. So those videos would have them, like, you know, if you see it where like if it crashed at that point or something were to happen, you would have them redo a video at that time.
Okay. So in that instance, do we just exit out of it and restart the app?
Yeah, so you generally, if you're having that issue, close out the app, restart it, and then also if you're having issues while you're testing or things like that, try to hit a screen record on there so you can send that to us so that we can kind of better, we can fix those things going forward, and we can kind of jump in there and see what's going on, because it's going to better show us like why it crashed or when it crashed.
Okay, because on the first day it was just loading up, and then on the second day it went way more smoothly.
Okay. Yeah, and sometimes, like I said, we do have some updates sometimes to fix those issues, but sometimes it could be other apps running in the background. Sometimes it could be a lack of space on your phone. There's tons of different reasons that causes it, but we definitely want to make sure we get all those issues resolved for you.
Okay. And also, you were talking about using non-royalty music. Is there a way to know like if it has royalties or not?
Well, generally,
Or is there a website?
well, you can Google royalty-free music.
Okay.
But generally, anything that most people want that, you know, that's going to be a current artist or that a music label owns is going to be stuff that we shouldn't be using it on our video.
Hello.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other-
Also, I'm sorry. I have another question.
Go
Sorry.
for it.
All right. So, for the background, when you do the settings and you're trying to put your logo on, ours comes out very small. Is that because we didn't save it as a large size?
And it comes out small where?
Like on a thank you screen, or whenever we put our logo onto it?
But it's just a thank you screen, or what screens we're talking about?
I think it was just the thank you screen.
It may.
That's my next question was how do we change like that orange color and change it to like a background that we wanted to use?
So generally, like I said, so for the thank you screen, we should have that set to 0 because generally we don't use thank you screens for the 360.
Oh, okay.
Because generally that screen is not customer faced, so it's not going to be a thank you screen because you're going to be the one that's controlling it.
Okay. So how would we edit the like the background and to put our logo and stuff?
On where?
So they can see it on the sharing screen.
That's going to be in that branding section.
Oh, okay.
The app logo. And then once you change the app logo, it'll give you an option to add your logo, and it'll add it to the top of it.
Does it give you an option to add the logo after everyone's video?
What do you mean?
So like once the video's done and like they get off the 360, can you add your logo at the end?
Yeah, so that's called a post roll. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can get back in here for you. So once you go into your actual software, and I'm gonna see if I can show you really quickly. So that's called a post roll. So you can have a like a lot of designers will do it. You can have the you can have a video made where what it's going to do is going to take your logo and it deconstructs it, adds cool smoke, makes, you know, graphics. And then what it's going to do is you can add that at the end of your video. So after your video plays, then, you know, they'll see an advertisement. So it's a good way for people to see your company and know who did the video. So if you were to go to menu inside of the, can you see my screen?
No.
Okay, give me 1 second. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay. So if you were to go to menu and under your TouchPix app and you hit settings, if you scroll down, this is the area that I actually didn't show you yet. So it's going to be called Visual Effects Creator. If you click Visual Effects Creator, you want to also make sure the top is on slow-mo. But right here on the bottom right, you can actually add a post roll on the right. And that's going to be that video that shows after your video is completed. So if I were able to show you. We are going to, which would, I don't know if we did this one. So if you see the video, I don't know if I have my thing at the end. So at the end, it will show a post roll. Like if you actually have a post roll, it'll show like you can put the post roll there and then it'll show your advertisement at the end. But that's going to be right here under post roll. What's really cool about this screen as well, since we're here, you can still see it. You can actually, these are all filters and these are like different effects you can use where the screen splits to 4, where it hyper zooms the screen in. You can also, if you forget to add your audio, you can click audio in the gray box, and you can actually add audio right here in this section as well. So this gives you a ton of effects that you can add directly through the app. And you can only do a maximum of 3 effects at a time. So keep that in mind. And audio is considered one of the effects.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, basically, when we had our event Monday, and when we had those issues with the continuous loading, the next day we took all that, like the effects off, like the music and everything, and it was like a straight shoot, and we didn't have any of those issues from the day before. What could that be due to? The effects, and it's just too much running through at the same time trying to load everything up.
Yeah, it depends. So, like I tell you, everyone's phone is a little bit different, but depending on what effects you're using, if you're changing the area of the time where they're moving, depending on how long your actual video is, like what you want to do, like if you're starting to have an issue, remove one effect and then try video again. If you're still having an issue, remove the other one, and you can kind of pinpoint which one may be having a problem. And that'll kind of tell us, like, to check into that effect and see what's going on. Or, like it could be multiple things going on, but having different options on there could definitely affect it. If you have audio on there and your audio is loaded as a 3-minute file instead of a 30-second file, that could cause it. If you have a corrupt file that you put inside of your audio, that will cause it. So, it's a few things like you could play with to kind of troubleshoot and get through everything.
Yeah, I just think it was like we had the regular preset music that comes with the app, and we removed that, and we took the thank you. It like cut down the load time because the only thing it had to add to the video was the slow-mo, and then it was fine.
Yeah, so and just play with it, like I said. But if you ever see those issues, definitely let us know so we can kind of work through them with you and get those fixed for the future.
All right, thanks. I appreciate it.
No problem.
All right. Hey, good evening, guys. Sorry, I got here a little bit late. I think the question that I have, it might be already answered, and I apologize in advance. I was asking about the GoPro. I think I asked that question in the group the other day. Someone mentioned for me not to use the main device as the one sharing. Let's say if I'm using the Apple TV, don't share it with the TV. Use the sharing station with the TV. I tried that, but for whatever reason, it loaded here and there, but it took a very long time. I mean, I don't know if it's a setting I was missing. Let's say if I use my phone, excuse me, if I use my phone as the one sending, and the sharing station as the receiver, of course, that's the one I shared with I created the mirror with the Apple TV, but it would load, but it takes forever. I don't know. I mean, if you can kind of walk me through that setting, because I mean, technically you still have to pair it with the phone, right? If you're recording with the phone, I'm sorry, if I'm using a GoPro, and then of course I have a phone in my hand to control it, when to start, when to stop, but I have a sharing station. So that's the one I share with the Apple TV. Does that mean I still have to put one as a receiver, one as a sender?
Okay, so kind of to back up, I'm kind of give everybody a full answer for this question. Really quickly, are you using the Apple TV or are you using the AirPlay built-in Apple TV?
Apple TV.
The actual box?
Yes.
Okay, and do you have Wi-Fi? Are you connecting that to Wi-Fi as well?
No, I wasn't actually, because from what I realized, you don't have to have Wi-Fi to connect to the Apple TV.
Okay, but so are you sure that it was disconnected from any Wi-Fi at the time?
Which one, the sharing station or the sender?
The sharing station and the Apple TV.
I mean, it was an iPad, so I have to have it on Wi-Fi just in case if I have to send it. Yeah, it was on Wi-Fi.
And then the Apple TV, was that still connected, or did you disconnect it from Wi-Fi? Is the better question.
To be honest, I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
No, I don't think it was connected to the Wi-Fi.
So to give the group a full idea of what he's talking about, so as you can extend your phone as a display to your TV, when you use GoPro, you can't do your phone to you can't do your recording device to your TV because the GoPro is taking the connection. So what you can do is you can do a slideshow off of your sharing station. You can do a slideshow off of your sharing station, and You can do a slideshow off the sharing station, and if you do a slideshow off the sharing station, it'll then show a QR code and a picture of the video on the screen so that they can share off. What you do want to make sure is that, that your Apple TV is disconnected from any Wi-Fi's, because that, again, like I said earlier, will cause a disconnect within the process. That's not something I can really troubleshoot right now, but if you reach out to us, during the week or anytime, we can definitely help you with that process. But generally, that's something that just it takes some getting used to and playing with, but more than likely it was just a connection, maybe restarting the Apple TV, restarting the iPhone, but it's something that we would just have to troubleshoot with you.
So it shouldn't take long to upload to the Apple TV if you connect it the right way. So technically, if you're using the GoPro and you want to link it with the TV, so now you have about 4 devices in the circle, right? The GoPro, the one you're controlling the GoPro with and then you also have a sharing station. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it won't take long at all. It takes about 15-20 seconds usually at most to switch over to the Apple TV.
And then okay.
That's it.
And then
just feel free to reach out to us so we can kind of go through this personally with you, because it's going to be a little bit more advanced than what some other people are doing, and we can't really troubleshoot fully on this call.
I got you. Okay, no problem. I'll do that, because I just start playing with the phone itself. Like, even if I use the hand guide, I feel like this is very convenient. I mean, if people want to know how to use it, I think that's a good way where you might not even have to start the process. The person can just start it themselves.
Correct.
Yeah. All right. Thank you again. Definitely I will chat to you guys. I have another question. It's more like software related. Is it possible to use the Canva? I mean, it seems like a lot of people using it to do like the overlay animation and upload it.
Yep. So you definitely can use Canva. You definitely can use anything like that, whatever you want to use to create your overlays. Photoshop, Canva's a little bit easier for beginners. So as you get, come along, that's something you definitely can use. And there's some tutorials on them in our Facebook group. And otherwise, you can always just do YouTube and learn a lot from different stuff like that.
Because I tried to follow one of it. I'm not sure what I did wrong. I created the overlay with the animation. And when I upload it, you can see things moving in the background, but you don't really see it. It's almost seems like it's not transparent. But there's an option, say, if you save it as transparent, it just become an image, but no animation. So
the animated overlays are a little bit different. You have to either have a black background or a color background to remove it. But so I would ask that question in the group. So remember, that's not really part of the software as far as creating overlays. But we can help you once you create it, show you how you're going to add them in. But you may also want to reach out to one of the main designers that's in the group, and they can probably give you some tips and tricks to kind of make that work better.
Sounds good. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
No problem. We got about 10 more minutes of Q&A. Any other questions? Any questions left from the group? Okay. Well, I will say again, thank you all for being on a call. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Please feel free to post any questions you have in the group. There'll be someone online answering them throughout the night or in the morning. And I will be on here for about 5 more minutes. So if anyone wants to stay on and ask any questions, please feel free to.
Are you able to edit a video after you've shot it?
You can
like
edit
put the filter.
Not in the software. That's something that you would have to, if Photoshop or one of those programs, you can do it in that after the fact. But the software creates the video with the overlay, with the music and everything at the beginning. But if you need it done, there's also, like I said, some designers in the group who would be more than happy to do that for you. But it would be, a cost associated with it.
Right. And also, do you recommend using GoPros, or do you feel like the Apple products are better?
It's just different for each person. I mean, depending on what you're looking for. For me, a GoPro is easier, but it doesn't mean it's gonna be easier for someone else. iPhones are really the easiest process to go with. But it's just testing out, what works best for you at your events.
Okay.
I just I'm just wonder with the with TouchPic, because I know it has a feature where you can um design your own overlay and everything. It might not be with all the animation and extra things you can do outside, but are you guys working on coming up with a way you can edit the overlay in case if you have to go? Because it looked like now you can just add to it after you've done it. Even if you download it, you can go back and add to it, but you cannot edit it. I mean, I see the option is there, but you can't really click on it. Is that something you guys working on just to make things a bit more convenient?
I'm not sure at this moment. Generally, I'm gonna say I don't know. So that's something we can definitely always revisit in the future. We can let the designer know. But right now, I think it's really meant to be kind of an easy. Let me create this really quickly and do something. And a lot of people create, like you said, stuff in Canva, Photoshop. So when that stuff is already created, so then if you need to edit it, you can go back to Canva, Photoshop, and you can edit those things. So I don't know if it's meant to be a full version of something where you have all those options at. So right now that's not an option, and I'm not sure if going into the near future if that's something that we're looking to add.
Thank you.
I'll be on for a few more minutes. So if you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'll be here. And like I said, otherwise, you have a wonderful evening.
I had a quick question. When I first started using the TouchPic software in Photoshop, I had made sure that the dimensions were like the 1072 or 1076 by 1072/76. And when I imported it as a overlay, when I did a video, only a fraction of the actual overlay showed. Do you know why that was? Because I basically had to make the overlay off-centered for it to actually show.
It's probably really going to be the sizing. So I know it's like 1072 by 1072. So I would just go back to the checks and the specs and check the specs of that, the sizing for that overlay. And that would probably be the biggest thing. But I mean, if you have an example of it where you're doing it again, reach out, post it in the group, and we can help you, and we can like check it out for you and see if the size is matching everything.
Okay, because I know that what I've been doing is having one tab open in Designer and then another with the QR. And so I'll basically update until it fills the screen like it should.
Yeah, I'm sure it's something to do like just making sure the template and the specs are right. But if you, I mean, if you're having that issue and you send us pictures, we can like send it in so we can check it out, and you can also email us the file so we can actually try it on our side to see if we get the same error.
Okay.
No problem.
If I can add a little thing to the last person that just asked that question, I think if you go inside of TouchPic, there's a section you can download all the templates. Then when you download them on your computer, if you're not sure about the size, you can just do a right click on it, click on properties. If you're using Windows, click on details, it'll tell you the dimension.
Okay. Cool, thanks.
And also whatever you design, if you don't select the right overlay, let's say if you select overlay 2, which is 1072 by 1072, if you create a different dimension, when you load it to that overlay, like let's say you select slow-mo overlay template 2, if the size doesn't match, yeah, you're gonna have that little off. And sometimes the software pretty smart, it tell you that you have the wrong size.
Okay, everyone, you all have a good night. I'm gonna close the call out now. If you all have any issues, just post in the group and we'll be there to assist you. Have a great night.